All right, guys, welcome back. What we're going to do today is we're going to tie a pheasant tail Nymph flashback hook. We're going to use today is a Mustad 3906B. It's 3x hard and it is 2x long, so shank's a little bit longer than your normal Nymph sprout hook. Materials we're going to cover today, it's a little bit more than what we've been doing, one or two materials. Today we're going to be tying with a nice pheasant tail. On top of that, we're going to be using a medium copper wire to rib the fly with, and we're also going to use a large flat pearl tinsel. This is going to give you the thorax coupler for your fly. On top of that, we will also be using peacock sword. You don't really want to take it from up here because the backside, as you can see, it loses its color. You're always going to want to take them from the bottom of the shaft. It's the best place to get your peacock herl from, or you can buy just a regular pack of peacock herl. I recommend you always look at your materials when you're buying them like that. Make sure they're not going to be too thin for what you're looking for. I find it hard to get a whole pack of peacock herl that I actually like or use. So what I tend to do is I just buy the peacock eyes and use the herl from the bottom half of the shaft up to the eye. And it seems to work out pretty good. All right, thread we're going to be tying with today. It's going to be a uni thread in 80 black. This is a little, it seems like a little bit more work to tie this fly, but it's really not. All right. We're going to cover several different kinds of flies in this, the beginner series. This is one of them. This is one of the ones I carry in my box. I usually carry about 15 to 20 of these in my box. Use it for a nice searching pattern, see what they're hitting on, give you an idea what's going on. All right, so you're going to come in a couple hook eyes back, and then you're going to lay a nice thread base in all the way down, touching turns as you go. You're going to stop just short of the bend. If you can, get it lined up with the barb of the hook. It's about the only time I'll use the barb of the hook, because as soon as I'm done with all my flies, what I do, I come in and I crimp that fly or the barb off of that hook. It does two things. One, depending on where you're fishing, you may be fishing in a barbless stream. You should always know the rules and regulations of where you're fishing. Two, if you ever get one of these little bad Larrys stuck in you, it comes out a lot easier when there's not a barb. And if you spend any time fly fishing, I guarantee you're digging hooks out of you eventually. Those windy days can get you. All right, the first material we're going to tie in is the pheasant tail. I got 3 to 4 pheasant tails here. What we're going to do, this is going to simulate two things. It's going to do the tail, and it's also going to do the body of the fly. So for the tail, for this fly pattern, you're going to do the length of the shank. The shank goes from the back of the eye to the beginning of the bend. All right, so you're going to get that gauged out, change hands, come over. You're going to do a pinch and loop, and like before, like I always say, you pull towards yourself, another pinch. These smaller flies are hard to do. Another pinch and loop, and capture that material in. Now this fly can be tied from a 12, size 12, all the way to a 22. This is a number 18. For the wintertime fishing, I fish smaller flies just because of the weather, temperature outside, and it's more likely that these are getting kicked up, the smaller ones are. You're going to come in now, grab your material, pull it to the rear, capture all 4 of those again. A couple wraps, that'll hold it down. Then you're going to come in, you're going to take your copper rib, you're going to catch it 1, 2, 3 times. Now, you want to maintain a nice even body. So I cut that copper line off. I butt it up to about where the thorax is going to start. And then I run up to where my original tie-in point is. And then I'm going to come back down. Let's see, it's going to flatten out that body and give it a nice smooth body. This is a nice thin fly. Then I'm going to go back up one more time. And this time I'm going to stop about a quarter of the way from the hook eye. At that point, I'm going to take peacock tail, I'm going to come in. So let me see if I can get this in here. I'm going to come in, I'm going to trim them edges off. I want this fly to be able to just go wherever it wants. That way, when I wrap it, it's a nice, smooth body. I'm going to grab it, tips, and then I'm just going to wrap it. Spiral wrapping. Make sure you don't over wrap yourself. And just continue up to where you got your tie-in point, or where your thread's holding off. So once you get there, for you guys that tuned in earlier, you know I like to catch all my material in on the bottom. No right or wrong way to do that. Just what I like to do. So far, you've only tied in 2 materials, and out of those 2 materials, you've got the rib, and you've already got the tail in there. All right, so now you've went clockwise with your count, or you went clockwise with your body material, so you're going to go counterclockwise with your copper wire. This copper wire does 2 things. It simulates the rib, and it also protects that peacock tail, or not peacock, but that pheasant tail. Pheasant tail and peacock herl are very soft materials, and the teeth on the fish, they will just chew right through this stuff. So I always do a counter wrap with my copper wire, gold wire, whatever you happen to be working with. That way it looks nice on the fly, and more importantly, it protects that fly, so you can catch, instead of 1 or 2 fish, you can probably catch 10 or 12 before you got to change this fly out to another one. All right, once you get to that stage, you're going to come up with your large pearl tinsel. You're going to position that right over the top of the hook. You want to tie it nice and flat. Take a couple of wraps rearward. And at this point, you're going to want to start building your head. You don't want to come up here all the way every time. Well, what you'll end up doing is you'll run out of space. Once you start crowding that hook eye, you got nowhere to form your head. All right, so once that's locked in, as you can see, I can pull on that and it don't go anywhere. That's what you're looking for. All right. Then we're going to come in with our peacock herl. As you can see, the butts where I pulled it off of the stem. I always tie in butts first. I tie in butts first. Some people tie in tips first. I like to tie in butts first because, as you can see, the natural lay of the fiber is pointed toward the tip. And I got a tendency to pull the fiber as I turn, and what that's going to do is going to let that fluff up a little bit more. So we're going to come in and capture that on the side. You know, work your way back to the front. You're going to always hold off just that little bit so you got room to make that head. And then just like the pheasant tail, you're going to make nice tight wraps toward the front. You're going to catch it in on the bottom, on the side. You guys already know I like to catch it in on the bottom. And come in, trim that out. Leave yourself plenty of room for the tail, or not the tail, I'm sorry. This one don't even have the antennas that I normally tie in from the back side of the tail. You can leave your room for your head. And then you're going to come back. See this little gap right here? That's going to do 2 things. It's going to let me tie in that flat pearl tinsel. It's going to leave me room to build that nice buggy head. With this, you're just going to pull straight across. Pull straight across. Push it down. Then you're going to come in and capture that on the top. 1, 2. We'll pull that material to the rear. 1, 2, 3. What that's going to do, it's going to lock that little piece in. There's not a whole lot going to hold that to that fly. So you want to make sure your material is locked in with that fly time thread. Then you're going to come in and trim it as close as you can get it. And now you're going to just go ahead and slowly work your way into building that nice buggy head. Instead of flattening out your thread at this point, I like to let it round up. As you can see, it'll slowly start to build a round head. Then once I get a couple turns in, I crisscross over my heads of my flies. It doesn't do anything special for it. I just like the way it looks because it'll round it up and give it that bug look. Then everybody's favorite part, the whip finish tool, right? Hopefully you guys have gone and checked out those videos on proper whip finish techniques. If not, leave me a comment below. If you guys are going to, follow me on YouTube and whatnot, I'll go in, I'll make these extra videos. I'll show you some of the tools that I make for myself, save some of you frugal fly tyers some money. I'm not a fan of spending a bunch of money on things that I can make for myself. Slow down when you go to make your head. It's always a good idea not to rush to fly, because you guys already know what I'm going to say. It's your fly and you got to fish it. Lock that off. Come in, trim that out. Then we're going to come in with our UV resin. Give it a little, just a little bitty dot right there on the head. So I'll light that head up pretty good. Extra step that I like to do with any of my flashback flies, I like to come in and put a dot right on top of that. If you put it right on top of your flat pearl or whichever tinsel you're using, it'll build up that bubble. Once that's in the water, it's going to trap that light. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but that's giving off all kinds of different colors. It's not just, you know, a flat pearl color. It's got green, it's got blue. You can see all those in there. All right, and with that, you have your number 18 Flashback Pheasant Tail Nymph. We're going to cover several different nymphs in this upcoming series. Hope you guys enjoyed the fly. Take time, tie you up 5 or 10, put them in your box, give them a shot every once in a while when, you know, nothing's going on. It's a good searching pattern. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, turn on your bell notification if you're following me. That way you get notified when I upload the new videos. Upload normally every day. That's the plan for now, until fishing season gets hot and heavy. And then, you know, if I'm traveling, it'll be a little bit harder. I'll try to do it from the creek banks, the river banks, wherever I'm at. Maybe that'll add a little character to the channel. If that's something you guys would like to see, please put a comment in the description below. And until next time, tight lines.